Let's go back to that school kids' strike for Palestine protest in Melbourne today. Slotted for Sydney tomorrow, by the way. Now, I had my say on it earlier, but have a look at this ugly chant.
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
Those pictures, I'll remind you, are from Melbourne, a city in Australia, in November 2023. I asked Jewish Liberal MP Julian Leeser whether he was sickened to hear school children chant such hateful rhetoric.
I do, Chris. I think it raises two very important questions. Firstly, why are school children attending a protest on a school day at any rate? Like the Premier, like the Education Minister, like my leader, like almost every sensible thinking Australian, I want school children in schools. But the second thing that's even more disturbing is that school children are being taught that Israel has no right to exist. They're being taught that the two-state solution is a bad idea, because that is the effect of saying that from the river to the sea. It means that Israel should be wiped off the face of the map. That's not something that I think Australian school children should be learning. I don't think it's something they should be embracing. It is not the policy of either side of politics in this country. And I think that school children should be taught to embrace the only democracy in the Middle East, in the State of Israel, the only democracy that provides and respects human rights, the rights of women, the rights of religious minorities, the rights of LGBTI people. I think it's shameful that they're chanting such slogans on the streets of our cities.
Well, when you want to talk about ignorance and the way it can lead to hateful outcomes, have a listen to this from one of the protesters.
You know what? We should be in school. We should be learning. But this is a genocide unfolding in front of our eyes. And we have to be the ones to do something. Does Jacinta Allen know that the school year in Gaza was cancelled? Do you know why? Because most of the students have been killed.
Julian, this sort of misinformation, the school year cancelled because most Gazan children, most Palestinian kids in Gaza have been killed. There's just no basis for any claim going close to that.
No, all this does, sadly, Chris, is feed anti-Semitism in our streets, in our cities, that people are saying these sorts of things. And we have to remember where all of this started. On the 7th of October, on a religious holiday in Israel, there was the worst terrorist attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust. It was an attack that cost 1,200 lives, people attending a music festival, women who were kicked and screaming, raped in front of their families, babies kidnapped, captured and killed. We've got over nearly 300 people still kidnapped by a terrorist organisation. That's where all of this started, and Israel has the right to defend itself. Israel has been saying to the people of Gaza, get out of the way from where they are going to launch their strikes, and they're launching strikes on buildings where Hamas has put its infrastructure, where it's put its people, where it's put its munitions. And sadly what Hamas has been doing is using innocent people as human shields. Israel has done everything it can to get people out of the way. Israel's aim is to get its hostages back, to get those people who have been kidnapped back, to destroy the infrastructure that has been pointed at them, and to bring Gaza to peace, because that's what everybody wants. He wanted into this to this situation where you have Gaza ruled by people who want to see Israel wiped off the face of the map.
Look, and feeding into this mix, often completely gormless media reports and certainly a lot of reporting of numbers that are fed out by Hamas out of Gaza, suggesting thousands of innocent children have been killed. Now, there's no basis for this. There's no verification of this. This is information coming out of Gaza that is censored, that is approved by Hamas. So we really don't know what the extent of civilian casualties are in Gaza. And just to flow on with the theme of some of the crazy stuff, frankly, we've heard from school children today. Have a look at this protester.
The Australian state genocided Indigenous communities, the effects of which continue today. The Indigenous and Palestinian struggle goes hand in hand. One fight, one struggle.
Yeah, this idea of linking the Jewish people as some sort of colonisers of an indigenous land, the Jewish people have been in that part of the world for thousands of years. Obviously predates any records we've got of Palestinians there.
Well, that is right, and the idea that you would link the struggles of our Indigenous people in Australia to what's happening there is an anathema to me. And I was very pleased to see the distinguished Indigenous leader Marcia Langton come out very strongly a couple of weeks ago and condemn this behaviour and condemn the fact that many people who are running this line on the far left are people that refuse to condemn the terrorist attacks that were committed against the Jewish people in Israel on the 7th of October. This idea of the left that that there are oppressors and the oppressed and everybody should be judged on that basis, and that somehow Jewish people are symbols of white privilege and therefore that Jewish people must be done away with, is just an appalling idea. And it's an appalling idea particularly from the same group of people who so often lecture us on the importance of respecting the rights of other minorities, but for them Jewish people don't count. And I think there is a sickness in the left of Australia, and it's a sickness we particularly see in the Greens Party in our country.
Julian, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Chris.